Hi, readers and Enliven book lovers. My name is Zhena. I'm the publisher of Enliven Books, and I am here in beautiful Ojai, California, on my back deck, which is kind of like my home office reading zone. And I am here with Enliven author and Sundance Award-winning filmmaker Josh Tickell, whose book, I'm not sure if we're going to have the book cover up when this video goes up, but it'll be somewhere. It'll be up here. And it is called Kiss the Ground. So, hey, Josh, welcome.
Thank you. Hi, Zhena.
Hey. So tell us a little bit about Kiss the Ground and why you are writing the book and why you're so passionate about it.
Well, the subtitle of the book is A Food Revolutionary's Guide to Reversing Climate Change.
Just that.
Just that. I mean, obviously, we're in a very heated political time when it comes to those words, climate change.
Yes.
But from the perspective the book takes, we're not talking about the type of climate change that you've heard about, these sort of Al Gore, global warming. That's not the direction we're talking about at all. In fact, what this book shows, which is amazing, is that through one solution, we can feed the world, increase our own nutrition, draw CO2 out of the atmosphere, and rebalance the carbon in the oceans, which is threatening to kill the phytoplankton. Those are the little guys that make most of the oxygen.
Yes.
So whether or not you care about global warming or even believe that CO2 in the atmosphere is causing global warming, it's irrelevant. This book shows a pathway that will take care of that, but will do all these other wonderful things as well.
And what I love about the book is that it's achievable. It's one of those rare instances that I read it and I saw the film. It's a film tie-in for all of you who are watching. And it felt empowering, like, oh, I can do something about this instead of just like, having my head in my hands worried about climate change, which is a major concern of mine every day. And I have watched our beautiful area here in California go through the most extreme drought. Crazy. And it felt like I went to the grocery store and I knew what to do. I knew to buy certain types of foods. I knew how to eat in new ways. So can you tell us a little bit about how this is empowering for the readers and what it guides them to do?
Yeah. Well, I really think this takes off, on the quest that Michael Pollan really started many of us foodies on. He wrote The Omnivore's Dilemma.
Yeah.
And at the time that book came out, it really was a dilemma. Do we eat meat? Do we not eat meat? How much do we eat? We don't want to support this corn CAFO complex where corn is grown in the Midwest and then shipped to these terrible animal feedlots. Nobody wants to support that. It's horrible.
Yeah.
So he put forth the dilemma, and every dilemma has to have an answer. You eventually have to get to, okay, what are you going to do? You have to get to lunch.
Absolutely.
Or dinner or breakfast, as the case may be. And so really, Kiss the Ground is the answer to the dilemma.
Yeah.
And when you read the book, you're going to get a sense of, yes, your own personal dietary choices. We're not in the book telling you, look, don't eat meat or eat meat. That's not the argument we're taking in the book, in fact. The book points toward the Harvard medical science around what a plate of food should be in order to be nutritious to a human being. That's where we point people. We call it the regenerative diet. Now, what's great about the regenerative diet, what's great about learning this through the lens of the book, is you are going to look at every single item in the grocery store differently.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have a whole new set of criteria. And yes, that criteria is about helping the planet. It's about doing great for nature. But what it's really about, and this is the great thing, it's about doing great for your body. You will feel 100 times better after adapting this diet. And I can tell you, because my wife, myself, and our kids have been on this diet, and our lives have changed.
Yeah.
So, and it's not radical. It's not like, oh, you have to give up everything you've ever loved. It's a different way of looking at everything you put in your mouth. And at the end of the day, you're going to feel better.
Well, and it's food activism. I feel like as a busy mom, I can't actually go out and do a lot of the activism I want to do, but I do buy a lot of food. And I support a lot of local farmers through our farmers markets. And what I loved about your book, are the stories of these farmers, this new generation of farmers that are basically so progressive, they're old-fashioned. Can you tell me a little bit about some of the farmers you talk about in the book and in the film?
Yeah. Well, really, the research for this book, I started this in 1997. It's been going on for 2 decades.
Before fuel or after?
Yep, before. I got into alternative fuels because I was working on farms.
Yeah,
I was
I remember
a
that.
willing worker of organic farms. I was a woofer, a young volunteer of organic farms. And that's when I first got exposed to the ability to grow your own food, which is incredible, whether you do it in a small planter box or in your backyard. And through that process, I get to take you back, except the new people that you meet aren't the people that I met in 1997. They're the most cutting edge, most intelligent, most articulate people who've been studying this, some of them for many decades, and are putting these practices into place. So you see, okay, if we are going to eat cows, how do we use cows to make the environment better?
Yeah.
Okay, let's meet those people. Let's see their lives. Let's really get in there. The great thing is these people opened their lives to me. They opened their homes. They opened their farms. They let me live with them. They let me sleep on their couch in their backyard, sometimes in tents. And I got to see firsthand, there's a lot of food companies that would not let you in their front door, never mind their back.
Oh, yeah.
I got to see everything, every part of every process of every food item that we talk about in the book. I got to experience, and you get to experience that as a reader. So this isn't just a book about facts and information. It's a journey across the United States and to France to discover a whole new way of eating, a whole new version of food.
A way of seeing food, too, almost through our ancestors' eyes, because it's basically, it's okay to eat beef or buffalo, because they tamp down the soil and sequester CO2, and then you plant on top of it. And it really is a holistic way of seeing food. So grass-fed beef and cattle are good. Corn-fed beef and cattle in feedlots, not so much. And you were talking earlier about how it helps your body. It really not only helps your body, like if you have a grass-fed steak versus a corn-fed steak, your blood cholesterol doesn't go up. But with the corn-fed steak, it does. So what's good for the planet is good for our bodies because we're made from the stuff of the planet. I mean, it's not like we, are separate from it. So it's really a holistic, aligned model, but it's also, I find, it helps us accept our cravings and our desire to have delicious food, but to do it right. And that feels really good.
Yeah. And you're going to learn some really empowering stuff when you read this book. You're going to have a new set of tools. And what I mean by that is, look, 63%, more than half of the calories that an average American eats in a day come from processed foods, mostly from monocrop soy and monocrop corn grown in the Midwest that has been doused with chemicals like glyphosate, 2,4-D, atrazine. And so over half of your diet, generally, if you're an average person, is coming from these heavily chemically laden foods that are then very processed and put into a bag, a box, or a carton.
Well, I'll tell you really quick, not to interrupt you, but I saw a report a couple days ago that they tested all of these favorite snack foods of kids, and they were all so high in glyphosate, which is a known carcinogen and cancer causer. It's Roundup, if any of you don't know. They found it at almost the highest levels in Cheerios and Goldfish. If you think about what we feed our babies early on, what are the first two things we give them? Cheerios and Goldfish, right? They're easy. I was so incensed and so angry and so much more motivated to get this book out from that because people don't realize it. And it's just the greed of these corporations that is causing our children to become sick. And what I love about this book is it not only exposes all of that, but it gives everyone a proactive set of resources to do something about it.
Yeah. And it's a perfect example. You're a mom. I think a lot of moms will read this book. A lot of moms are seeing
I agree.
in food. They're the nurturers, generally,
Yep.
of the home. And what's beautiful about empowering yourself with this information, look, you may not have the budget to go out and shop at Whole Foods and buy every organic thing that you want to buy. But what you start to see is you start to see trends and patterns,
Yeah.
and you'll apply those. You'll go in your kitchen, you'll read the book, and you go in the kitchen. You read the book, and you go in your kitchen. And this is a process.
Yeah.
Dietary changes don't happen overnight, and when they do, they usually don't last.
Mm-hmm.
So what we really want to promote is information through which you can now look at the products on your own shelves and go, this is food. I did buy it as food, but maybe it's better in my trash can than in my mouth or my children's mouths.
Exactly.
You will probably go through a major cleansing in your kitchen after you eat this.
Yeah.
And when you do that, what tends to happen is you start to look for other items.
Exactly.
And things that fill up that 63% of your diet, amazing things that you never even thought about eating, come into your home and become part of your life. And they're not expensive, and they're not difficult to get. So that's the neat part, is the personal change that you're gonna feel better. Your family is really gonna experience this too.
Definitely. After I read the book too, I stopped eating so much soy, even organic soy, and it really balanced my digestion out. It balanced everything out. I find that the book has a ripple effect, and the film is going to also give people the visual. But what the other thing I love about the book is all the charts. Like, you are a filmmaker, and so you think in pictures. So not only is the book phenomenally written, but the imagery, the charts, the graphs, everything's so educational. Tell us just about one study that you talk about in the book.
Oh gosh,
I know there's a ton. Pick one.
One study. I'll give you a negative example and a positive example. How's that? So Perfect. On the negative side, what we look at is glyphosate. We talked a little bit about that. That's a very dangerous chemical. It's an endocrine disruptor, so it's very, very, very powerful when you're in development. Meaning, if you're in the fetus, if you're a young child, you don't want that anywhere near your food or your children. But there's another chemical that's being widely used now called 2,4-D.
Yeah.
It's one of the two parts of Agent Orange. So 2,4-D, it's probably, next to glyphosate, it's the most widely used pesticide. And by the way, all of these pesticides, all of these herbicides, all of these chemicals derived from technology developed by the Nazis in World War II to create gas that they could put into
gas chambers,
concentration camps.
Yeah.
That's how we figured out how to make these things, and that's the technology we're still using today.
And my grandparents survived concentration camps, so that gets me even more angry. It's like, we've been through this. Why are we doing this on purpose?
These chemicals are still doing exactly what they were designed to do 100 years later. They're still killing people. So, it's odd, but one of the studies, and we show this in the book, it's got a very clear, interesting graphic. You see the accelerated use of 2,4-D in the United States, and then we break it out. 1 in 4 Americans has ultra-high levels of 2,4-D in our bodies, detectable in blood samples.
It breaks my
heart. So we break out, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean that 25% of us have that? What does that look like in the human body? What does that do? So that's on the negative side. You can really get a sense of, like, wow, here's the impact.
Yeah.
Okay. On the positive side, one of the cool things that we look at is the cycle of nature. We keep coming back to this. You mentioned it, the cycle of nature, the cycle of nature, the cycle of nature. And we break out, like, how would agriculture look, and how does it look when it works, when it actually enhances nature, when it makes it better, when the soil gets richer, when the water cycle gets healed. Mm-hmm. So one of the amazing things we learn about in the book is the water cycle. We think all the water comes from the ocean and then falls in the land. It turns out that almost half of the water comes from plants, transpires, and falls back onto land, mostly as mists and dews and light rains. Yeah. We learn in the book, through graphics and through the words, how to heal that, how to bring the 50% of water that we have done away with because we've cleared the land for agriculture. We learn how to bring that back. That is how you reverse a desert. That's how you turn a desert back into a forest or back into a lush landscape that supports life.
Absolutely.
That's what we learn how to do. And you can do it in your backyard.
It's awesome.
That's the cool thing. You can do it in your lawn.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited about this book because I feel that so many other books have made me feel hopeless in the face of climate change. And the concepts here, at first I was like, what? No, that can't be. And then as I was reading it and seeing all the scientific research behind it, I was realizing, oh, the answer is literally we're walking on it. Like we can do this. And I think, there are other countries already doing this. So, in the Paris climate talks, you go there in the film and in the book, and you travel around, and it's exciting to see people are already taking this practice and using it on larger scale.
Yes, I mean, there are whole countries that are adopting the regenerative agriculture model and the regenerative diet. Yeah. France is probably leading the way. They're probably the number one country in the world that's doing this right now. Today, this is how they're producing their food. This is how they're promoting their diet. This is how they're educating their children. I mean, this is the food that they're eating in schools, is regenerative agriculture food. That's very progressive. It shows that it can be done on an exceptionally large scale.
Yeah.
And that's fun to know that you're participating. I mean, look, let's break it down. What you put in your mouth is perhaps the most powerful choice you make every single day.
Constantly.
And when you realize that you have that kind of power, you are ultimately in charge of deciding what kind of climate the planet has based on what you eat. That's power.
Yeah, that is power. Well, thank you. It is fun. It is fun, and food is fun. And so, Josh, thank you for all the activism you do in the world. You started with fuel. I mean, even before that, you started in organic farming, which taught people about biodiesel. And that film was really a game changer for so many. And you went on to do Pump, and you are doing Kiss the Ground. You've got more things, Good Fortune. You've got these fabulous documentaries, and you've done a really good job of uniting entertainment and education in a really beautiful mission-driven way. And at Enliven, we're all mission-driven, and so your mission helps us feel that we're doing even more in the world because of all the work you do. So thank you, and
you're welcome.
Yeah,
it's an honor to work with you, Zhena. It is. It's fun, and
thanks.
Yeah, I feel like this is the type of work that everyone wants to do. They want to work with great people like you, and they want to make the world a better place. And it's just, I'm honored so thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. And so you said a couple things that I wanted just to pull back to for our readers as we close. The resources, so they're in the book and they'll be accessible. There's a nonprofit called Kiss the Ground. People can also go to kisstheground.org and look up ways that you guys can not only read the book and take action, but also see what's being done also through Ryland and the Kiss the Ground organization. Whole Foods is in support of the book. So if you do have a Whole Foods and, they have great sale items if it's too much for your pocketbook, but they are in big support of the book. Dr. Bronner's, Nativa, any other sponsors that are helping with the film that we should mention?
Well, the coalition is growing. So
Great.
I know Amy's is very in support.
Great.
And just want to mention about the nonprofit Kiss the Ground. I think it's kisstheground.com. 50% of the proceeds of the book are going to the nonprofit, are going to Kiss the Ground, the organization.
Awesome.
So that their work can continue, because I'll probably go on and write other books and do other things.
Yeah.
And we want this work to continue to spread around the world. So I'm personally very dedicated.
Yeah.
We're all dedicated.
I know you are. I know you bugged me till I said yes on this book, and I'm so embarrassed I even hesitated. But anyway, well, all my love to you and Rebecca and your new baby. And for our readers, I hope you will pick up Kiss the Ground. It is an exquisite book. If it's not published yet and you're watching this video, sign up on enlivenbookclub.com and you will get special offers on this book before it even comes out. So thank you, Josh, and thank you to our readers, and we super appreciate you.
Thank you, Zhena. Thanks, everyone.